Actually, John and I had a conversation earlier this morning about what it is about horror in particular that people find so necessary. I mean, this is an interesting question to ask today in the beautifully clement Southern California weather. What is it particularly about American society, American culture now at this given moment? You mentioned zeitgeist before, but is there something about our culture right now that creates a more urgent need on the part of people to be an urgent need for darkness? There's so much in the culture that we consume, whether it's a kid listening to death metal music, or people who want to see horror movies, or even a writer who writes things in the way I do. What is all this about? You think you're a great person to ask, because you're such. You're a great student of. You're a great icon and student of American culture.
Well, we were talking about maybe the need for some sort of authenticity, right? And in cultures that sort of deny the shadow or those types of things, there's an authenticity to actually feeling all those emotions and feeling and experiencing all those terrors and giving voice to them. As I said also before, I really think that language is the language of the subconscious. Like if you read The Red Book by Jung, it's filled with incredible, grotesque and horrific images, like the way dreams can be. Dreams can be very violent and primal and sexual and perverse and mysterious. And so I think people understand that that's in them. And in a culture maybe where we don't want to admit that we're human and fucked up, the writers or the artists that do, we sort of go to them like priests, and they're like, wait a minute, they're into something here. They've got something going on. Is that what you were saying? You were probably saying it in a more literate way.
No, I wasn't saying. I was saying it in a less literate way. That was an extremely literate way. I think if any of you have not read Poe, I don't think it's. I think. John does an extraordinary thing in this movie, which is to take this figure who was lauded and celebrated by French writers, from people like Baudelaire and the symbolists and Mallarmé and surrealists and writers up to the present day. And who was a hopeless alcoholic and a laudanum addict, and the French have this word, poet maudit, a poet, a damned poet. Mr. Cusack here has somehow turned this figure into a kind of action hero of some kind. It's stunning. An action hero in the sense of a metaphysical kamikaze action hero. But it's an amazing
plunging
feat.
into the underworld. But that's what they did, I think.
I think what I wanted to suggest to people, there's a story by Poe called Mask of the Red Death. Is that the right title?
Yeah.
You know much more about Poe than I do at this point, where the plague is actually invited sort of into the very sanctuary from the plague. But